Welcome back. This is Mr. Elmhorst with the help video for the proportional reasoning minor grade. So it's important to focus on the proportional relationships within the math in this unit. So unit 5, we utilize a proportional setup. So where we have ratio 1 is equal to ratio 2. And we can represent that as a fraction. So for example, 3/4 is a simple ratio. 3 out of 4 is equal to 75 out of 100. So within this unit, we're trying to see the mental math between these ratios to see what the proportionality is to keep them equal. So for example, you can multiply by 25 and 25 here. And if you don't know the relationships there, you can always cross multiply and then divide by the other number to help you solve any given proportional situation. So let's getting started here. We're going to look at problem number 1. The beginning of the school year, we had a math class of 25 students enrolled in the class. During the year, 6 students moved out of the class and 1 student joined. By the end of the year, what was the percent change of the class? So we're looking at the change and the percent. So the change was 6 students moved out of the class, 1 student joined the class. So the change was 7 students, and that was out of 25. Oh, needed to correct that just a little bit. So the change was the class went down by 6 and then up by 1. So the change was 25 minus 20, which would have been 5 students. So the class decreased by 5 out of 25 students overall. So now the mathematical reasoning is you could look up and down for a factor here, so that within the proportion, and that is dividing by 5, or you can look between the equivalent ratios and see the proportional relationship there. And you can multiply by a factor of 4. Taking a look at the problem number 2, what is the total cost of a $330 PlayStation if the sales tax is 8%? So we are looking for the total cost, including the 8%. So there's a couple different ways we could do this, but a mathematical expression would actually make it a little easier than doing the proportional reasoning to help you solve it. So if we look at the PlayStation cost and represent with the variable P, and then the PlayStation tax, which would be represented by multiplying the cost by 0.08, and that would equal the total cost, putting them both together. So this, we can represent this with a coefficient of 1p plus 0.08p, and that is going to give us a total of 1.08p multiplying. So we go up here, we have 330 times 1.08. So 8 times 0, 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 is 26. When you're done multiplying the 8, we cross that out, and then we're looking at zeros. 0, 0, 0. We're done multiplying there. We cross out 2 spots down below. So when we're done with the 8, we cross out the spot there. When we're done with the 0, we cross out 2 spots. Now we're starting below the 1. 1 times 0 is 0, 3, 3. And there was 2 decimal place values up above, so we move it over 2 decimal place values in our answer. Continue with number 3. Hannah received a 25% discount on the coat that cost $45. What's the price of the coat after the discount? So after the discount means we are starting with 100%, and we're going to take that discount away to see how much we're actually paying, the percent out of the original. So that is 75% what we are actually paying for the quote. So the sale price is 25, which is 75% of the original. And we could use the proportion 75%. So 75 goes over 100. And then we have 45 for the total price. But a quick mathematical way is multiplying diagonally and dividing by 100, which is the same as multiplying 75 hundredths times 45. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 3, 37. When you're done multiplying the 5 spot right there, you're going to go down below and cross it out. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 2 is 30. And then put the decimal 2 spaces to the left in your answer. With number 4, the table shows the number of students at the Carmel Intermediate who chose each of the available 6th grade elective classes. What percent of 6th graders chose choir for their elective class? So let's use the proportional relationship or reasoning for this one. So we need the parts over the total, and it's asking about the percent, and that is always going to go over 100. So the part over the total times part divided by the total times 100 would equal percent. This would work. So we're going to look for the part, and that is choir, and then we need to find the total. We're going to add all these up. 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20, and that's 2, 4, 6, 12, plus 8 is 20, plus 5 is 25. The total is 250. So now we look for relationships here and here. So our proportional relationships looking for a factor. But now if we look within this, look between 80 and 250, if we divide by 10 and divide by 10, that takes away the zeros. Now we can see a relationship factor between 25 and 100 is times 4. So that would help us solve quickly. Looking at number 5, the price of the computer is $740 and the sales tax rate is 8.25%. And so what we need is 8.25% of 740. We got the percent over 100, and then the sales tax out of the total. So the part that we're looking for is the sales tax. Use proportional relationship, we can cross multiply and then divide by 100 to solve. Well, cross multiplying and dividing in this situation would be the same as multiplying by the decimal value of the percent. Because 8.25 divided by 100 is going to be 0.0825. And then we multiply 0 times everything on top, starting here. When you're done multiplying the 0, we cross out that spot down below. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 is 17. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 1 is 57. When you're done multiplying the second digit, then we cross out 2 spots down below. And now 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And 4 times 8 is 32, plus 1 is 33. Now we're going to add up our 3 lines of products down below. And we move our decimal place value 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we might be off on a digit there. Let me check. For those of you watching the video, I had a moment where I switched the 7 and the 4 around. So I multiplied by 470. Let's make that correction. We got all zeros here. And then 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And 4 times 8 is 32, plus 1 is 33. So I think we're back on track here. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 is 17. And that is going to give us 57. 0, 0, 5. That's 10, carry the 1, carry the 1. And removing the decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal place values to the left. So here we're looking for the change over the original. The price dropped to 75 cents, but it changed by $1.75. So looking at the relationship here, 2.50 over to 100. Well, mathematically, if we move this over one decimal place value, that's multiplying both of these numbers by 10, which still keeps them equivalent. Well, that's going to give us 17.5 over 25. And 25 definitely helps us out with 100. So it's times 4 times 4. So we got 17.5 times 4 to help us solve. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. And 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. You move your decimal over, one decimal place value, and your answer. So looking at problem number 7, we're going to find the cost per ticket. So we need to find out what is the total cost and break it down into the unit rate. So we have $58 for 4 tickets. We can use a proportion to solve this. Some of you might have just divided right off the bat. That's just fine. So we need 4 tickets down to 1 ticket. And the proportional relationship just shows you that you're going to divide by 4 and divide by 4 to find the unit cost. So 58 divided by 4. And you may need to use a decimal in order to finish dividing this out. At number 8, if we're looking at the proportional relationship of 37.1 out of 185, so the is going to go over the of, and the question mark is the percent. We're going to calculate the percent over here, and that's 37.1 over 185.5. So this does not have a direct factor, and this may have a direct factor from 185.5 down to 37.5. So what we may want to do is use a t-chart and find the multiples of 37.1 to see if it matches up with 185. So we 1 times 37.1, 2 times 37.1. So we got 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1, and then 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we can multiply by 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21, carry the 2. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Then we got 4. 4 times 1 is 4, and then 4 times 7 is 28. And 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And then we have 5. 5 times that is going to be 0.5, and we're going to get 185. So the factor here is dividing by 5 will take us 185 down to that, and then dividing this side by 5 will give us our solve. So looking at the cost right now, $1 buys you 3 pencils. So $1 is 3 pencils, and this question is asking about 2 dozen. A dozen is 12, so 2 times 12 is going to be 24. We have pencils on the bottom, and we can use either dividing by 3 or you can do times 8 to help us solve. 3 times 8, and then 1 times 8 for the total cost. Okay, the last example, number 10 for this video, is going to be Vivek needs 90% on the final exam. So we're going to put the percent over 100. And then this is the total. The total question is 20. Are we going to compare 100 to 20, divide by 5, and divide by 5 to solve?